Why on earth is Luke Weaver in that game? Why on earth is he in that game?
I wish I can give you an answer. I don't know.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsulias, and with me as usual, my co-host Brian McKeon. Brian, it's another Monday.
Stacey, the Yamamoto game, that's the one we thought they were going to win.
Actually, we did joke about that, didn't we?
Yeah.
At first, we joked that they would win that game, but we didn't know how the rest of the weekend was going to go. We'll talk about it in a second. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live. On today's show, the Yankee schedule doesn't get any easier, so they need to stop that yearly free fall from starting in early June. We'll talk about that. It's Minors Monday. We have a lot of info for you from down on the farm, and we'll let you know what's going on with specific players that we usually talk about. But first, let's talk about Sunday, because that was the only positive game out in LA for the Yankees.
Somehow they got to Yamamoto. Again, this is like the weird game where they get to the Dodger ace, and I guess the Yankee current ace got to Yamamoto though, because Ryan Yarbrough was terrific again. And you know what though, not quite ace type stuff, I'd say, but you know what? He's doing exactly what you'd love a fifth starter to do. Like, well, he's being that plug in the rotation, and he's been perfect for them.
Here's the thing. The top four batters for the Dodgers were 0 for 16 in the game.
Yeah, they struggled, and when those guys don't get things going. Now Max Muncy still made his himself known, and the Dodgers still that's
and Tommy Edman, because he's another pain in the butt.
And Pages. That's, by the way, how you know how good the Los Angeles Dodgers are when you watch this team play, and it's going to lead into a bigger point that we'll make probably in tomorrow's show. Actually, if you guys want to tune in, of how this series means a little bit more than actually what wound up happening, but we'll explain that tomorrow if you guys want to. If you guys should tune in to hear what we have to say about that.
You should tune in every day,
every single day. But Stacey, what I will say is, the mark of how good the Dodgers are is they are truly never out of a game. And Sunday's the perfect example. They looked like they were dead in the water. This was going to be the game the Yankees were going to get. Dodgers still got the series, everything like that, and then they managed to drag across 3 runs and put themselves back in the game late in this game. Now, the Yankees took care of it, and the bullpen was really good, but they dragged themselves back in the game, didn't really do much, but manufactured those runs somehow. They're a scary team. They really are.
Yeah. Jonathan Loáisiga was the one that gave up the runs. He gave up 2 home runs. I mean,
that was it.
That sometimes happens. But let's talk about Yarbrough for a second, because his ERA is down to 2.83. In his last 7 games, he's 3-0 with a 1.76 ERA.
It's incredible. I mean, from what he's turned it around to, I mean, you get the setback from another one of your starters, or 2 other your starters throughout this series, but he was the star when it comes to the starting rotation. He kind of served that ace purpose, though, of being the stopgap in your rotation to kind of set things up and turn it around. So, I mean, we've talked about it, upsetting series overall to lose the series in LA, but still, you don't want to get swept. It's still key to get that win, get back to New York, and, kind of like reset things a little bit.
Yeah, you spoke of Yamamoto, 3 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 2 Ks. He threw 96 pitches.
Yeah, they made him throw a ton of pitches. He had to get removed when he did.
Yeah. What?
Your next comment in the rundown just got me a little bit. I'm sorry. Behind the curtains.
What did I say?
The corpse of DJ LeMahieu with an RBI single to make it 5-1.
I will say, if you're a regular everydayer of the show, when I trash someone, they start hitting. Okay.
Yeah.
So I joked about him being the corpse of DJ LeMahieu on Reddit. He went 4 for 5 on Sunday. You're welcome. Who shall I trash? Who shall I trash next?
you had also the Peraza RBI, which was key too, and how about Ben Rice getting? I mean, there's no home run where Ben Rice doesn't get all of the ball, but jeez,
like right to center field, and it wasn't even hit as hard as he normally hits the ball. And I say this as he hit the ball 107 miles an hour. goes 425. Like, what a shot by him. And by the way, I had to explain to Insider Debbie why I call him Ben Aros. In case you don't know, in case you're new, Ben Rice is fluent in Spanish to the point where on TikTok, Dominicans leave comments saying that he speaks better Spanish than them and that he's an honorary Dominican. So they call him Ben Aros. And I love that nickname for him. I think it's the funniest thing ever. So that's why he's Ben Aros. In case you didn't know that that's what Rice was in Spanish. I do remember some stuff from high school Spanish, but not everything. The thing that the thing about Yamamoto, the Yankees scored in different ways, right? So Dominguez, the RBI single, Rice hits the home run. He throws a wild pitch that knocks in the 4th run of the game. I just like the way the Yankees found different ways to score the runs tonight.
Agreed. And they reported after the game, too, that Dominguez, it's a left thumb contusion for why he left the game, and Bellinger was brought into the spot. Wasn't for defense. I'd almost rather would it have been for defense, but regardless, we'll see if he plays on Tuesday. They didn't mention an IL stint immediately, so that is somewhat positive sign, but they're probably going to wait to get back to New York before they do any other testing on it. So
Bellinger worked that walk, got to second. Yeah. LeMahieu hits that ball, gets the important 7th run because for some unknown reason, Luke Weaver was up. Okay. I didn't want to go into Saturday's game right away, but we have to discuss it. First, Loizaga with the 2 home runs. Williams, keep him in the 8th inning. Just keep him in the 8th inning. He's better in the 8th inning. I know it's not better for him. We spoke about it the other day. It's not better for his upcoming salary, but he just performs better in the 8th inning. He seems more comfortable there. Tim Hill. Oh, wait. Tim Hill came in, and guess what he did? He struck out Freddie Freeman. Of course he did.
Yeah, I mean, that's obvious. Yeah.
Of course he did. Okay, so let's move to Saturday because, all right, 18-2, these games happen. And I know people are like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. The 2000 Yankees, who ended up winning that World Series, I watched them lose to Cleveland 15-3 in September of 2000. I saw the 2009 Yankees get their butts kicked on opening day, the home opener in 2009. And then 2 games later, the then Indians, they win 19-4? Remember that game? Shin-Ming Wang was knocked out. Yep. Anthony Claggett, remember him? Gave up 8 runs. Like, these games happen. The thing that bothers me about Saturday's game, why on earth is Luke Weaver in that game? Why on earth is he in that game?
I wish I can give you an answer. I don't know. Why was he in that game? Why was he in the 4-run game the week prior, and then he wasn't used on Sunday? And I agree with not using him Sunday when it's a 4-run game, but why against the Dodgers when it's a 4-run game? Again, a team different than the Angels, where the Dodgers actually have a chance of getting a 4-run game back in one inning, where the Angels kind of didn't. He doesn't get used in that spot. But against the Angels, he does get used in a 4-run game. And then you use him in an 18-2 game. Listen, Stacey, if you need him to get work, put him in, have him throw a simulated game the next day. Why is he coming in an 18-2 game against the Dodgers? Why would you do that to the guy? None of it makes any sense. And I wish I'd almost respect the decisions more, or I'd live with them more if there was some BS analytical reason that Boone came out and said, oh, well, his whip is better in this spot, and his this is better than this spot. He needs to be here on this day and that day. Give me some BS reason of why he needs to be in on that day. There is no reason. He has no rhyme or reason. He's doing things on a whim, picking guys out of the rotation of who he wants to throw in at what day. It makes no sense, and it's bad for your bullpen, and you put yourself at risk in Sunday's game because, Stacey, I know it was a 4-run game and they wound up winning the game. And so far, these bad bullpen decisions, by the way, let's give ourselves a little credit and pat ourselves on the back, because we've been the only Yankee show out there that's actually been talking about his brutal bullpen decisions, because it's not a storyline, because the Yankees have won these games and they come out on the positive side of these games. But it would be a storyline if they were losing these games. But let's just acknowledge the fact that Aaron Boone's gotten away with these bad bullpen decisions because they've been winning these games. But the Yankees what happens if they lose the game on Sunday? Because Luke Weaver's not available. And they had him up and had him pitching. The Dodgers are a very good team, though. What if he had to bring Luke Weaver in? And Luke Weaver wasn't as sharp because he was used the day prior in an 18-2 game. You don't know what's going to happen in these games. It just makes no sense. And it's team mismanagement. It really is.
Yeah. And then Friday's loss is just annoying. I said that Max Fried was due for a letdown. you can blame me, but some of the insiders were blaming me like, you jinxed him. I know. But you know what it is, though? I am kind of smart about these things. I kind of can see a pattern and know when things are going to happen. The Dodgers are a good team.
They're great.
And I don't want to hear this whole Max Fried can't pitch in pressure situations. It's May 30th.
Yeah, calm down. Yeah.
It's an intra-league game, not even it's inter-league game, not an intra-league game. As much as it sucks losing to the Dodgers and being embarrassed by them in 2 games, it's just a series against a team. Okay, I know the narrative,
exactly,
because of the World Series and because of the way the game went on Friday, and because of, like, people were saying a lot of silly things on the internet about Max Fried because the first time that he pitched badly, this is the first time he pitched badly
at all.
He made it until June before he had a bad game, and his ERA is still 1.92.
Which is crazy. He gives up 6 earned runs and his ERA still is under 2. Which is insane. Also, the MLB definitely scripts these games, especially the Yankee Dodger ones, because Ohtani and Judge homer in the first inning. I mean, give me a break. Also, Judge had 3 home runs in the series. That was unbelievably impressive. He's now on pace, Stacey, for 63 homers and 150 RBIs. If he's able to do that, because it's I wouldn't even put it past him at this point, though. That's what's crazy.
Now, I do want to say one thing because I know I'll forget it later in the show. The Colorado Rockies lost their 50th game on Sunday.
Oh my God.
The 1998 Yankees lost 50 games altogether, regular season and playoffs.
I have no words. They're on pace to completely the 1962 Mets, that famously, that awful team, right? That team had a stretch where it had eight separate 2-game winning streaks. And that team was awful. They had 8 2-game winning streaks. The Colorado Rockies have won 2 games in a row once all year. One time. I mean, they're on pace to shatter the 62 Mets record.
Yeah,
and the White Sox record of last year.
I think they're only on pace for like 22 wins because
they're on pace for over 140 losses.
Yeah, like that's just insane. It's crazy to think about how good the 98 Yankees were in the opposite direction, that they only lost.
Crazier. This is almost crazier, though.
Oh yeah,
it's almost crazier to be this bad.
Yeah.
It's
so they
it's
got
hard
to their
be this bad in baseball.
Yeah, they got to their 50th loss before they won their 10th game.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get texts from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. We send out the lineups during the season, roster moves, and breaking news so you don't have to check social media. And you also get top priority on Fan Mail Friday, which we do every week. There's a 14-day free trial. Coming up, it's Miners Monday. We're going to tell you what's going on down on the farm next.
Hey guys, are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Well, you can crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Now, Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1-ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better-for-you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. There's a variety of great flavors. It includes the jalapeno lime, dill pickle, chili roasted, and smoky barbecue. I've tried them all. They're great. You can also get the lightly salted or unsalted if your taste buds aren't quite as strong as mine for those bold flavors. Now, personally, I'm a no-shells variety kind of guy. It's the perfect grab-and-go snack for busy days. And whether I'm snacking at my desk, I'm on a road trip, or I just need that quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open the shells like you're at a baseball game and you want that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are also a classic favorite. And whether you're running between the meetings or dropping off kids, Wonderful Pistachios are the snack that works as hard as you do. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
Okay, so we have a new way for you to leave questions for Fan Mail Friday on YouTube. If you go to our channel's page and you click on posts, you will see where I tell you what the deadline is. I'm just doing Thursday at 5 p.m. every week. I think that's the easiest time for everyone. So get those questions in by Thursday at 5 and you will be on the show. So it is Miners Monday, everyone's favorite segment of the week, aside from Fan Mail Friday, of course.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Of course. Well, Fan Mail Friday tends to be a few segments, depending on how many questions you guys ask. By the way, the last 2 weeks, you guys have been really good. Keep it up, because we appreciate the questions, and we appreciate the fun we have answering them too. So let's go to Scranton first. Dom Smith triggered his opt-out. He was having a solid season there, but there's no room for him on the Yankees at all.
Yeah, he had by the deadline of June to be able to opt in or opt out for the rest of the year, and I guess he opted out. I mean, if he's sitting well in AAA, someone else is going to pick him up. So why wouldn't you for Dom Smith?
Yeah. I mean, he's like batting over 300 and doing really well. But yeah, there's no place for him on the Yankees right now. Now let's talk about Jesus Rodriguez. I saw something on Reddit suggesting that the Yankees bring him up to play third base because he's doing so well in AAA. His batting line is 362, 443, 461 in 167 plate appearances. But by what's going on in AAA, he's not going to play third because Scranton has not put him at third. He's primarily a catcher. And again, we say this all the time. You can't just bring someone else up and make them change positions. And it's not going to be easy for him to do that. So as good as he's been batting, I think this is my personal feeling for what the Yankees, what's happening with the Yankees. I know Peraza isn't hitting a lot, but he's pretty good defensively at third. I feel more comfortable with him there and just ride it out till the trade deadline. And if they want to make an upgrade at that point, do it then. Because Jazz Chisholm, playing in Somerset, was playing third because the Yankees were thinking about putting him back at third. Now, I know we mentioned DJ LeMahieu was 4 for 5 in the game against the Dodgers, but he did have that really big game against the Phillies last season where he accounted for all 6 runs, hit a grand slam, and then he was terrible for the rest of the year. So I think we need to see more out of DJ LeMahieu before the Yankees make these kinds of decisions. Oh, one last note on Scranton. Scott F. Ross. Not doing well. He was moved up to Scranton from Somerset. He's allowed 8 runs in 3 innings of work since moving to Scranton. I mean, the one good thing is he hasn't injured himself yet, but
hopefully it's just working on stuff. I will say this with Rodriguez, you're totally spot on with this. You can't just throw a guy into a position that he hasn't played all year and expect him to play. Listen, they've wanted to give Peraza a true chance at getting major league time consistently for years now. Here's the opportunity. This is the 2-month stretch while they're still winning games, by the way. This is the stretch where you give him his opportunity. If he can't figure it out in this 2-month stretch, then you got the trade deadline to go make it. No one's going to blame anyone as long as they give Peraza the opportunity. No one's going to blame the Yankees whatsoever if they give him the opportunity and he fails for them going out and getting another third baseman. Right. No one will blame them. It's just that they don't give him the opportunity. So give him the opportunity. And hey, Stacey, he has got no major league options left available anyway. So if Peraza doesn't perform, you go acquire a third baseman, you cut Peraza. There you go. Right. It's as easy as that. Or you DFA him, I guess. And
I also don't like this whole, well, they've given him a chance. It's like, okay, he's played regularly for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And not even
to get into rhythm.
Yeah. Just give him time. You give other guys time, and other guys go through like 6-week slumps and you don't hear boo about it. But Oswald Peraza, oh, he struck out again. Oh, he did this again. Just give him a chance. Like we said, he has pretty much 2 full months to get things going, except for like the All-Star week in the middle there. But you know what we're saying. Now, speaking of Jazz Chisholm, he fouled a pitch off his leg during an at-bat on Sunday in Somerset. I saw the video. It didn't look great. He finished the at-bat, then left the game because he was about to return to the Yankees. They were gonna activate him for Tuesday at home. So hopefully it's just a bruise and nothing worse than that. I didn't see any updates on him yet. So just cross your fingers that it's nothing worse than that at this point.
I do think it's a positive note that they didn't say anything yet. Right. Because they definitely have run tests. Like if it was a break or something like that, they would have told us by now.
Yeah.
And he might have left the game strictly for precautionary reasons, I would think.
Right.
So hopefully there's a good sign.
Yeah. Cam Schlittler's ERA is down to 2.38. He won his 4th game of the season on Sunday for Somerset. He pitched 5 scoreless innings, gave up 4 hits, and struck out 6 batters. Also, Spencer Jones is back.
Who knew?
He's alive. He was 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts on Sunday. He returned to action earlier in the week, but he seems to be okay from that. What was it, an intercostal?
Yeah, whatever
injury?
That means.
I don't know what that is either.
You hear about them all the time, though. Every baseball player gets one, and no one knows what it means.
Yeah. I actually meant to Google that the other day, and I forgot to. Hudson Valley won their game on Sunday with a walk-off walk. They were down 1-0 in the 9th, tied the game, and then walked it off literally in the 10th inning. They're now 31-19 on the season, but they're in third place because the Mets team is ahead of them, and I can't remember the other team ahead of them, but one team has 35 wins, the other one has 34 wins. So
That's
right.
absurd that they played that many games already.
Yeah, it's interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Moving down to Tampa, left-hander Xavier Rivas made his low A debut. He was with the Florida Coast League until this past week. He threw 15.2 innings down there. Now, he was drafted by the Yankees last year in the 16th round. He threw 4 innings, gave up 1 run, but it wasn't earned. 3 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. He doesn't throw the ball very hard. He registers in the low 90s on his sinker and his 4-seamer. But he has a changeup and slider, and he tends to generate whiffs on his.
Kind of like Ryan Yarbrough. So the Yankees are maybe teaching themselves now that there's room for guys with that on the roster.
Right. And then finally, the Dominican Summer League starts this week. The Yankees have 2 teams, the Yankees and the Bombers, which I did not know about. And I would like to make everyone feel old because I was looking at the rosters just to see how young these kids are. There's a second baseman on the DSL Yankees roster, Jose Vargas, who was born on Leap Day 2008, which makes him 17. You're welcome.
Oof.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah. Florida Coast League Yankees, I believe, were rained out on Sunday. They're 9-11 so far in the season. So their season is very young. We'll have more news about the Dominican Summer League next week, as opening day, I believe, is tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. No, excuse me, today, because you're watching this on Monday. It's today. So, yeah, that's what's going on down on the farm.
Fun.
Yeah. Don't try to make Jesus Rodriguez a third baseman. He's a catcher. Okay.
Yes. Leave it alone.
That's the lesson for the segment. All right. Coming up, the Yankees cannot fall into bad patterns. What are those patterns, you may ask? We're going to tell you next. Okay, so as I teased, and as you guys know, the Yankees lately, under Aaron Boone, have the tendency to get out to a good start, sometimes a really great start. Look at 2022. They were amazing. They were being compared to the 1998 team, and then they free fall throughout the summer and do really badly. And I'm slightly worried about how this weekend went for the Yankees, but I feel better about it now that they won Sunday. If they had gotten swept by the Dodgers, again, it's just a series, but it's also a little demoralizing when you're playing a series on Apple TV, on Fox, on ESPN. You have more eyes on you, and you perform the way the Yankees performed. So thankfully, they recovered on Sunday, because if they had gotten swept against the Dodgers, I would feel more like they were going to maybe start that downward slide a little bit, because their schedule does not get easier these next couple of weeks. They face the Guardians at home, the Red Sox, then they go to Kansas City, and then go to Boston to play the Red Sox. Who scheduled that, by the way? Why are they playing the Red Sox on back-to-back weekends?
If you're not playing them at all throughout the year so far, it makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I hear what you're saying, where they embarrass themselves on 2 nationally televised games. I also could potentially flip that and also say that the more eyeballs on them means that likelihood it embarrasses an owner of the Yankees a little more than it would if they lost the series 3-2 to, I don't know, name other team, if they would have lost 2 out of 3 to another team.
Nothing
so
embarrasses
I think
Hal.
No, but I think it puts more urgency on the owner to maybe stretch that pocketbook a little more when come trade deadline time if they need to eat some cash. Owners do remember getting embarrassed by other teams that are a class of the league. These kind of things mean more to owners and stuff. So if anything, and we're going to do it more on tomorrow's show, I think, but the Yankees were, in my opinion, even though they won the game on Sunday, they were outclassed in the series. And you saw firsthand how much better the Los Angeles Dodgers are, just built as a baseball team the Yankees are. I don't think it's very close, to be honest with you. I think they're a lot better than the Yankees. The record shows differently, but
yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that team got swept by the Angels. Like, I feel like the Dodgers get more hyped up to beat up on the Yankees than the Yankees get hyped up to play the Dodgers. And it's a pattern. The Yankees are like the Twins against the Astros in the playoffs, right? And now it's getting to the point where the Yankees are like the Twins against the Dodgers, where the Twins can't beat the Yankees. You know, they won 1 season series in the last 22, 23 years. And it feels like this team under Aaron Boone has these bugaboo teams that just give them issues. And it always seems to happen on a national scale. And it always seems to happen in the playoffs against these teams. The Yankees are not a bad team. The Dodgers are not that much better than them. The Yankees are a good team. I know the Dodgers have a lot of good players too, but like, I don't like this whole idea that the Dodgers are just so much better than the Yankees when they're not.
I think they are, to be honest with you. I think they are. I think they're just the overall roster. I mean, I think you saw it throughout the series this weekend. The fact that they're able to get production of anybody in their lineup, right?
The Yankees could too if some of these guys could get their heads out of their rear ends.
They don't. That's what they don't, though.
Because the Aaron Boone, because of Brian Cashman, because of Hal Steinbrenner, because for some reason there is no urgency with this fakakta team. It drives me insane. And I did not want to go on this rant, but I feel like I need to because I don't want these guys. I don't want them to feel comfortable with what happened this weekend. They didn't seem angry enough. If Giancarlo Stanton was there, a table would have been flipped, okay? Because Giancarlo Stanton basically threatened everyone when they got their American League Championship rings. By the way, did we discuss this yet? Because they got their championship rings, which I didn't realize. I guess I did realize they do get rings for that. And basically Stanton's like, I don't want to see any of you wearing this because this is not the ring that we wanted.
It's comical. It's comical to even hand it out and invest money in that. I mean, I don't know.
But other teams get them and celebrate them. It's so funny, you know, like you're the first. I
don't think Dave Roberts does anything impressive on that end, and I know Los Angeles sports radio gives him flack all the time because he's a binder pusher who just follows whatever the Dodgers front office tells him to do, kind of like what Aaron Boone does. I just think that team, I'll say this: I think that team is built around a bad manager. They're so protected where they don't allow him to lose them games.
Right.
You know, because their bullpen is so good. So if he makes the wrong move of going to somebody, they're protected enough. Their lineup has guys that will contribute. And I know what you're saying where you're like, well, the Yankees have too many guys that just don't get their act together and don't contribute. The Dodgers don't have those guys that there's the risk of them not getting their act together in the lineup. I do feel like their records is, I guess you could say, bad as it is, because I don't think they're taking the regular season seriously. Honestly, I think that when teams get this good and religiously win 100 games every year, they just kind of view the postseason as just the season, the regular season, as just a walkthrough. Figure it out till the postseason gets here. You kind of saw like the Golden State Warriors for years when they were just going to the finals every year. They just treat the regular season as a walkthrough, as a practice session. I kind of feel like the Dodgers are doing that right now. I just think that this series showed that the Yankees have these gaps in their team that, you know, are those warts going to show against, you know, maybe the Kansas City Royals? Are those warts going to show against the Baltimore Orioles and the, you know, Toronto Blue Jays? No, but they're going to show against the Dodgers. They're going to show against teams like that. So I do think there's a little bit of that. This series showed to me a little more than it's allowing you to. But I agree. There's too many guys on the Yankee roster who have the capability, sure, but don't get it done when they need to. And it's a continuous problem. I think the Dodgers are built where they don't let the manager screw things up for them. They're so good that they don't allow him to make those mistakes, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. But you had to have like a really awful start by Max Fried, right?
Yeah.
You had to have a really awful start by Will Warren that just snowballed into like an absolutely terrible game. Like those two games happen against any other team. It's like, all right, a bad series can happen. That's why I'm saying I don't like this whole narrative. The Dodgers are so much better. If they did this against like the Royals, people would be, oh, the Royals are so much better. No, it was just a bad weekend because they were on like quite a roll. They won like 7 series in a row.
Well,
all the starters
doesn't that show though that going into this series they should kind of understand the urgency they should play with in this series? And you know, if the players don't understand it, that's one thing. Shouldn't the manager have them with a little more, you know, giddy up or oomph in their step going into a series against that? Like you would think if the team that you lost the World Series to the year prior, you'd have a little more pep in your step to play them in their building to kind of prove, hey, we're not the team that lost in 5 games last year. Right. Wouldn't you have that little bit of extra kick in your behind? You know, and that does land on the manager, by the way. The team coming in, if they're not going to have that urgency there, that's, partly on Judge as the captain of the team, but really it's on the manager. They need to have that extra little bit of, kick in their behind to be able to prove that, hey, we're not the team that lost in 5 games last year. We're the team that should have been up 3-2 going back to LA last year. Right. And I don't think, and to me, you didn't show that. To me, and they had an opportunity to, and you're right, they were playing well going into the series, and they laid down in this series, truth be told.
A Joe Torre team and a Joe Girardi team would not have laid down for this series.
No, they wouldn't have. And the Yankees did. And, I get it. It's a late May series, early June series. There's a very easy way to say, whatever. And does this series mean a lot for October? No, it doesn't. If these two teams meet in the World Series again this year, it's not going to be, we're not going to look back on this series and go, oh, the Dodgers embarrassed them in May. We're not going to do that. But, this was an opportunity for the Yankees to kind of prove to themselves that you were just as good as this Dodger team. And, you didn't do that. Yeah.
That's what annoys me. Like, I just don't like that this team has the capability to be so much better than they are. And they're pretty good. They're 36-22 at this point. Mm-hmm. But with this manager, it just doesn't seem like they're up to the task when they need to be. And again, it's late May, early June. This isn't an urgent series, but it's the type of series that you want to have a good showing. And they didn't.
No, you're right. That's the point. And, that does fall on the manager. There's not a lot of things, as we've discussed before, that he can directly impact, right? Like, this is not a manager of a high school baseball team who's in the batting cages at telling Judge, lift your elbow a little bit. It's not that level of things. But, part of, having egos in check and having, guys that put their confidence levels at the right place. And also having guys, going into series and, motivation and stuff like that. That all falls onto the manager, and he doesn't get that kind of stuff done. And it's, this goes back to that series against Boston when they were down, and the series against Houston when Aaron Boone showed 2000, exactly. When he showed the highlights of the Yankees blowing a 3-0 lead. Not understanding stuff like that and just being tone deaf, it shows it rears its ugly head again in this series.
Yep. All right. Well, Monday's an off day, obviously, for the Yankees because they have to travel back from LA, and they will be starting their series with the Guardians on Tuesday, which we will be previewing on tomorrow's show, and then the Red Sox are after that. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting 2 weeks, see how the Yankees do at home and then again on the road. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night, every game, every night, all season long. You get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.